You just opened your 2026 BC assessment notice and had a bit of a sigh of relief. Your home value stayed exactly the same as last year. Maybe it even went down a little bit. But you're thinking, great, at least my property taxes won't go up. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in Victoria, a flat assessment is actually a financial trap. Because while your home value may have hit a bit of a plateau, your municipal budget just hit the gas. Today, I'm going to break down the assessment paradox and why flat is the new up for your 2026 tax bill. So, BC Assessment just released the numbers for the CRD, and the word of the year is stability. Saanich and Victoria, single-family homes are up just 1% for the assessment averages. Langford and Esquimalt are effectively a 0% change across the board. And for markets like Metchosin and the Highlands, they actually dropped about 2 to 3% on average. Now, compare that to the municipal budgets, which are being debated right now. So for the city of Victoria, we're looking at a 10.44% tax hike, half of which just for the police budget. Saanich, on the other hand, is wrestling with 8.7%, and Langford, which used to be the low tax king, is looking at scenarios between 9 and 11% just to maintain current services. So here's the most important part that people miss. The city, it doesn't just get more money just because your home value goes up. They decide how much money they need first, being the budget, and then they use your assessment to decide your share of that bill. So think of the tax bill like a big pizza. The size of the pizza, now that's the city budget. Your assessment just determines how big your slice is relative to your neighbors. So if everybody's home value stays flat, but the city decides, hey, we need a 10% bigger pizza, well, your slice is going to grow by about 10%. So you aren't necessarily safe just because your value didn't move. You're only safe if your value dropped more than the average. So who are the 2026 winners in terms of tax savings? Well, if you're in Metchosin or Souk, where values dip slightly, you may see your tax increase kind of buffered or softened. But if you're in a market like Sydney or View Royal, for example, where we're seeing some more tax hikes, similar to the city of Victoria, single-family homes actually outperform the average by a couple of percent. So you may get hit twice, once by the likely budget hike in your given municipality, and again, because your share of that pizza pie grew. And for condo owners, your values are down about 2% across the board on BC assessment. Now, there's a silver lining. It might actually lower your tax burden relative to the guy owning the single family home down the street. If you're looking at your 2026 assessment and trying to figure out your next move, whether that's selling, refinancing, or just looking at long-term planning, don't make your decisions based on that old data. You need a windshield view of the market. So comment value below or text me at this number and I will put together a free home valuation for your property. No government formulas, just real market data and local insight. Thank you.